Hello, it's Andy from Email Love, and today we are going to discuss how to optimize the size, the file size of your email using the Email Love Figma plugin, which uses an email framework called MJML. Now, the reason we want to optimize the size of our email is emails that are above 102 kilobytes will get clipped in Gmail. And so I have actually an example of this that you can see on the screen here. This is actually the Email Love newsletter, which is currently getting clipped, which is not great. And if we go to the bottom, you can see what I mean. Actually, for the most part, you can read. It's quite a long newsletter, so it's actually not surprising that it's getting clipped. But you can see here at the very bottom, it does say message gets. I think we're on the edge of the limits of Gmail here. Fortunately, it still has the unsubscribe. You can actually still read the entire message. But if it was, if we added another section to the newsletter, then this footer would probably get cut off at some point as well. So ideally, you want to avoid getting clipped. I have seen our tracking pixel get clipped because of this as well. So opens in Gmail weren't being recorded on one of my sends. Actually, I had a really low open rate, and I was kind of confused initially about why that was, and it was because the ESPs typically inject the tracking pixel at the very bottom of your email. And again, if your message is getting clipped, then Gmail may remove that tracking pixel. And so let's jump into Figma and we can take a look at how to optimize your email design using the Email Love Figma plugin. So I'm just going to switch over to Figma. Okay, so if we take a component here and we preview it, when you preview, you can see in the top right corner, let's just make this a little bit bigger for you. We do show you how big the email is. So in this case, this is just one component. It obviously has a headline, an image, some text, and a button, and it is 21 kilobytes. So it doesn't sound like too big, but if you have a few of these, it can add up. And what we're going to do is actually optimize the structure of this component so that we can reduce the file size, and we'll see how low we can get it. I think we could probably get it to under 15 kilobytes. So we're going to revisit this preview screen once we've optimized the design to see what size we can get it to. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we use an email framework called MJML to build the structure of these emails, and that's what you can see on the left-hand side here. And as a quick reminder, MJML includes a wrapper, which is kind of the table for this section. You then have MJ section, which is the row. And then within the section, you have columns. You can have up to 4 or 5, maybe 6 columns. And then the columns hold the images, the text, and the buttons. And so what you can see here in this example is we actually have a wrapper that has it has 4 sections. So each section is adding additional code to the email. And we actually don't need four sections. This is a single column layout, and so what we are going to do is we're going to move the content from the image, the product name, the description, the button. We're going to move all of that content into the top section and then delete the remaining sections to reduce the file size. So this is a fairly advanced way to do it. This is just more to show you that you can optimize the code by understanding MJML and how the sections and the columns work. And it's actually not too tricky once you understand it. So I'm just going to open up the top column here, and I'm basically just going to drag the text, image, and button frames from the lower sections up here. This created a big gap because there's now an empty section which I can delete. Same thing for this one. I'm going to open up the section, open up the column, and then I'm just going to drag the text frames to the top. Delete that section. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the button, because really there's no reason why we need all of these different sections with columns. And so what you may have noticed is now the padding looks a little bit off, but otherwise it should look good. And what we can do is, I think we had the padding on the columns, but what we can do is we can actually add padding to the text, image, and button frames themselves. And so if I select the text, this hero text headline, I'm just going to add 35 pixels of padding below it. I'm going to add some padding to this section here. Probably just add another 35 pixels. And actually that looks pretty good. We may want to add, let's just see if we have any padding. We have everything in one column. We may want to add some padding to the sides and just remove the padding from. Okay. Okay, so let's preview this and see. Okay, so now just by doing that, we have now gone from 21 kilobytes down to 13.73 kilobytes. So that's a pretty big difference. And if you have multiple, if you have a fairly long newsletter, that stuff like that is going to make a pretty big difference. And that was fairly, and once you understand MJML, that is fairly simple to do. And so that is one way you could do it. Another thing that you could do, and we'll probably build this directly into the plugin at some point when we get around to it, but what we'll probably add is onto this export page is a Minify button. I personally don't like minified code. I'm always a little bit scared that it won't get read properly, but minification is a pretty common practice where you basically remove all the spaces in the email HTML to basically reduce the overall size of code. And so you can do that manually. I'm just going to pull up the minification website. I typically use CodeSyn, so HTML Crush is what it's called. And so what we can do is we can copy this code. Okay, I'm just going to switch what I'm sharing so you can see. And then this is the website. So codesyn.com, HTML Crush is the product. You simply paste in your email HTML. You can see on the left here, it has all these different, like all the spaces, and it basically just removes those spaces. And you can see here, it's reduced the size by 17%. So it's gone from in this case, it's gone from 13 kilobytes down to 11 kilobytes. And so you could then copy this into your ESP as a minified HTML file. Again, we'll probably add this. MJML actually has minification, a minification option. So we will probably build this into the plugin at some point. But for now, I recommend checking out HTML Crush to minify your code if you are getting clipped. If you're not getting clipped, may not be a big issue. But if you are, then test it out. Test this this website out. Okay, and that is how to optimize your email code using the Email of Figma plugin. Like I said, it is worth understanding how the MJML structure works so that you can structure your email frames in the most effective way. And then if you are still getting clipped in Gmail, you can take a look at HTML Crush to minify the code of your next campaign. So hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.